Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be doing the same thing that we did with exponentials, but now we're going to do it with logarithms. So remember that everything is reversed. Instead of y equals k, we're going to have x equals h, and we're going to have a range of negative infinity to positive infinity instead of a domain. So let's go down here. We're going to be finding the vertical asymptote. I'm just going to call that the VA, the domain, the range, and the end behavior. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and write this out for every single one. Domain, range, and behavior. Vertical asymptote, domain, range, and end behavior. Okay, so let's start with the very first one, and there are a couple things that we can go ahead and write out right at the beginning. That is going to be that our vertical asymptote is going to be x equals. We know that our range is negative infinity to positive infinity, and unfortunately we cannot write anything for our end behavior yet. But we do know that x is going to go to something, x is going to go to something, and y is going to go to something else depending on x. Okay, so let's start with our vertical asymptote, our x equals, and this is going to come from x equals h. So looking at x equals h, see how it says minus h? That means it's going to be the opposite of whatever h is. So let's go look here, and I see that my h, the number inside the parentheses with x, is positive 3. So we're going to use the opposite of that, which is negative 3. Okay, negative 3 is going to be used in our domain. So we want to see how this is in our domain by looking at our graph in Desmos. So let's go type this in. We have log base 2 of x plus 3. Okay, and what we see is that it does not exist in negative infinity on the x-axis, but it does start existing here at negative 3. Then it exists for infinity on the x-axis in this direction. So it's going to be from negative 3 until positive infinity. So negative 3 to positive infinity. And we cannot equal negative 3 because that is an asymptote. So now let's look at our end behavior. And what you'll notice is that the domain is going to signify this part of your end behavior. The range is going to be this part. So if you look up here, it was negative infinity to 4. We use those two numbers there, and negative infinity to positive infinity there. Same thing here. All right, so let's look at our end behavior. We want to see what is happening on the left side and what is happening on the right. So on the left side, let's first see what is going on with x. And if I look on the left side, I can see that my x values are going closer and closer to 3 until they actually just don't even exist at negative 3. So our x value is going to be from negative 3 on the left side. So negative 3 on the left. Negative 3 on the left. And then if we look at the right-hand side on the x values, we can see that these x values are going towards positive infinity. So from negative 3 until positive infinity. Or, I'm sorry, yes, positive infinity is going to be this part right here. Okay, so now let's look at our y values. We want to see, is this pointing up? Is this pointing down? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? So let's look at the left-hand side first. And if I look at the left-hand side, I can see that these y values are just pointing down towards negative infinity. So this is going to be negative infinity on the left, positive infinity on the right. So negative infinity on the left, positive infinity on the right. And I do want to see, is this always increasing or is this always decreasing? And this one, if you're on a roller coaster, you'd be increasing. So always increasing. Okay, let's try out another example. And just so you know, you are going to be using negative 3 everywhere in this problem. And you can also see that the domain is the same as, and the range are the same in the end behavior. But they can be flip-flops, so you just need to make sure that you put them in the correct place. So let's start with what we can write in this second problem. X equals negative infinity, positive infinity, and then we're going to have x goes to something, x goes to something, y goes to something. Okay, so let's look at our vertical asymptote first. That's going to be the number inside of the parentheses with x. This one looks a little bit confusing because it looks like it's going to be positive 1. But the only thing that is inside of the logarithm, since there's no parentheses, is the thing that's right after the log. So this is the only thing that is in the parentheses, meaning that what is beside of x is actually 0. Okay, so our vertical asymptote is going to be at 0 here, and we need to see if the domain is from 0 to infinity or negative infinity to 0. So let's go type this in. Okay, and we can see that on the domain, it does not exist in negative infinity, but it starts existing at 0 and then goes until positive infinity, looking at the x-axis. So this is going to be from 0 to positive infinity. Okay, now let's look at our end behavior. We want to see what is happening on the left, what is happening on the right. So if I go all the way to the left, I can see that these x values are getting closer and closer to 0. And they get so close to 0 that it actually says that it's undefined there. But these are getting closer and closer to 0 right here. So you can see it goes 0.1, 0.11, and as you went up, it would go higher. And the y values, you can see the y values are actually going towards positive infinity. So the x values are going to 0, the y values are going to positive infinity. So as the x values approach 0, the y values approach positive infinity. Now let's go look at the right-hand side. This was our left, this was our right. So let's go look at the right. And we can see that the x values are going towards positive infinity, right? They're going this direction. But the y values are just going to be decreasing. If you look at the y here, it's going down, 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 down forever. So as x goes to positive infinity, y is going towards negative infinity. Okay, so let's look at one more example. And at first I do want to see, is this always increasing or always decreasing? And if you're on a roller coaster, you'd be going straight down, and then you'd still be going down a little bit here. So this is going to be always decreasing. Okay, and we're going to do one more example. All right, we're going to start out with the vertical asymptote. That's x equals, the range is negative infinity, positive infinity, and our end behavior. There we go. Okay, so with our vertical asymptote, this is going to be the opposite of the number inside of parentheses with x. So that is going to be negative 8. So we're going to be using negative 8. We need to see, is this going from negative 8 to positive infinity or from negative infinity to negative 8? So let's type in this function, negative log base 3 of x plus 8 and minus 2. Okay, and we can see that this domain does not exist down in negative infinity here. We're looking at the domain, not the range. So the domain, again, is not existing in negative infinity. It starts existing here at negative 8 on the x value, and then it's going towards positive infinity in this direction. And let's actually, so it's going from negative 8 here, and then going until positive infinity on the domain. So negative 8 to positive infinity. Oops. 8. There we go. I accidentally wrote an infinity symbol. Okay, so now with our end behavior, we want to see what's happening on the left, what's happening on the right. On the left, I can see that my x values are just stopping here at negative 8. So it's going to be as x goes towards negative 8, y is going to go, and you can see the y values are just going straight up. So that's going up towards positive infinity. Okay, then for the right-hand side, we can see that the x values are going towards positive infinity, but the y values are actually decreasing forever in this direction. So as the x values are getting larger, the y values are getting more negative. So as x goes to positive infinity, y goes to negative infinity. All right, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Actually, one last thing, this is always decreasing because you can see if you're on a roller coaster, you'd be decreasing there. So this is going to be always decreasing. Okay, and there you have it. So hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. I'd be very happy to help you out. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.